All right, so this should be being recorded now.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Megan Biller. I'm a member of the Hatch planning team, and we are excited that you are here today. I will be monitoring the time, monitoring the chat, and as a reminder, this session will be recorded for future use. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce Barney-McNamara and Jina Rockwell for their presentation titled Ferris State Bulldog Athletes Perfect Sales Pitch Competition. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Megan. We appreciate it. So my name is Barney-McNamara, and I am a professional sales and marketing instructor, obviously within the College of Business. This is my 7th year at Ferris, and we are here today to present a competition that we put on that collaborated between our sales program and the athletic department called the Ferris State Bulldog Athletes Perfect Pitch Competition.
Hi, and I'm Jina Rockwell, and I have been with Ferris since 2015. So let's talk about this perfect pitch. It's really also known as an elevator pitch, and it's a timed introduction of skills and accomplishments. It's really just a short way to share essential information persuasively.
But the perfect pitch or the elevator pitch goes a little bit further than just simply reciting your resume. So what we are trying to get students to understand is that they want to connect and make a memorable impression on the person that they're talking with. This is something they can use in an interview situation. It answers the question, tell me about yourself, which we typically see in the interview almost right at the top end of it. The interviewer has your resume in front of you. They want to know a little bit more about you. And so that's where the elevator pitch comes in. They can also use this if they would happen to run into somebody that they're interested in working with kind of randomly. This actually happened to one of my students, and he was thrilled to come in and tell me that he had used his elevator pitch when he ran into somebody from one of the major golf companies at one of the pro shops. And he was able to secure an internship simply based on that interaction that he had. So we try to show the students that elevator pitches are more about storytelling and about giving that information about you and why that company should consider hiring you. So we have an example here. This is Liam McDougall, and he is with the Ferris State hockey team, and he actually participated in our competition in the fall, and is also a marketing major with a sales minor. So he's got this elevator pitch kind of down pat. So let's listen to Liam's elevator pitch to give you an idea of what this looks like.
How's it going, Mr. Williams? My name is Liam McDougall. I'm a senior at Ferris State University, and I'm studying marketing with a concentration in sales. And on top of being a student at Ferris State, I'm also the captain of the varsity hockey team. I've been there for 4 years now. And, if that experience has taught me anything, it's the importance of teamwork and how essential that is to any successful business organization. The ability to learn, listen, communicate, and problem solve are all skills that I've picked up both in the classroom and on the ice at Ferris State, and it's something that I'd love to implement here with the sales executive position with your company, ABC Company. And it was just great chatting with you today, and I would love to schedule another meeting. Possibly we could sit down, maybe get some coffee or something. Maybe my business card. It has my LinkedIn and all my other personal info on there. So thank you for listening, and have a great day.
So let me give you a little bit of a background on what started us with the collaboration for doing this competition with the athletic department. I don't think we have to go very far back to remember that COVID was a big thing, as it continues to be right now. But in the fall, what had happened was the athletics were discontinued. You can see some of the headlines here. GLIAC postponed or suspended all the different fall sports. And we are going through and we're putting students into national competitions where they're competing and doing different things. And I had somebody from one of the fall sports reach out to me and say, I'm missing the competition. This is something I'd really like to be involved in, but obviously I can't compete this fall because everything has kind of been suspended at this point. And one of my friends said that he's competing in sales competitions, and I thought maybe that would be a good fit for me. And as we were having this conversation, I thought, you know, he can't be the only person out there who's really wishing that they could compete a little bit more in something, and obviously not have the ability to do it athletically, at least at that particular point in the fall. I immediately picked up the phone. I called Jina and I said, hey, I have an idea. Let's put on a perfect pitch competition specifically for our athletes. Gives them the opportunity to compete, and also gives them something that's really going to be useful to them going forward. So, for example, we talked to the athletic director, which Gina's going to talk about in just a minute, and we told them, you know, sports and sales kind of go hand in hand in the sense that we're both looking at time management, we're both looking at self-discipline. Being coachable is very important in both of these arenas. Having a competitive nature, that ability to cope with adversity, and then that inner drive. So it was a really nice connection for us to put together this competition that kind of gave them something they were going to be able to use going outside of college, but also gave them the competitive information or competitive situation that they were craving and not having this fall. So that's kind of where this started.
Okay, so as Barb mentioned, our efforts began with submitting a proposal to our Assistant Athletic Director, Rob Communications, Rob Bentley, and it was really just to gain buy-in and establish ground rules in order to ensure that we were in compliance with the NC2A regulations. He then cascaded that information down to all of the coaches. And we then followed up with the coaches to ensure that they had all of their questions answered and any concerns were addressed. But we didn't stop there. We held workshops and we had coaching sessions to ensure that the student athletes were comfortable with the process, because many of them are not part of the professional sales program and they may not be as familiar with this whole elevator pitch concept. So to give you an idea of what goes into creating that perfect pitch, it begins with a soft introduction, and it's followed very quickly by something that's going to grab the audience's attention. And then there's this brief explanation of what would make them unique and how they could create value for the company. And then they're finishing with the ask to move that relationship forward. Now, in the amount of time that I spent to talk to you about what that perfect pitch entailed, over half the allocated time has elapsed. So you can imagine just how polished and on point that delivery has to be in order to stand out in the crowd. So then we went through and spent time with each student athlete to craft their unique story to ensure that that authenticity existed. Because if you are not authentic, if you can't believe and be believable in what you're saying, it's just going to fall flat. So fast forward, it was up to the students to do what the student athletes to do what they do best, and that's practice, practice, and practice until the competition. Fast forward to the day of the competition, we ensured that each of those students had availability in their schedule, and we used Calendly to enable them to sign up so that they did not have to worry about their class schedules or any practice or anything that they had going on. We then secured judges from the professional sales and marketing community, as well as the professional athletes community, to kind of showcase the talent, and then also to kind of give them a good idea of what they could expect in a regular competition. And then last but not least, because we were operating in a Zoom environment, we had ground rules set up when the students entered into the Zoom environment. There were a list of ideas and things for them to understand how the competition would move through the deliverables. And that's on your screen as well. And next we have Mitch, who is someone who competed that evening, and just to showcase how it occurred in real time.
Hi, my name is Mitchell Byrne. I'm a senior here at Ferris State University, pursuing a degree in marketing with a sales concentration. Here at Ferris, I've worked on multiple projects. One of those has been with the city of Big Rapids. I've conducted focus groups and done research, and also created an IMC plan for them. I've also worked with Cotton Incorporated, doing research and conducted multiple focus groups to help them develop their brand more. I previously worked as a project manager at a golf course. This has helped me develop my skills as a leader. It's also helped me work on my time management skills, and it gave me the opportunity to make decisions on my own. I'm looking for an internship this summer in a sales or marketing role. I would love to exchange information or connect on LinkedIn so we could talk about the possibility of this in the future.
So I should say that both of those elevator pitches, both of those people did compete in the fall and are exploring more that they can do in terms of the sales arena and how they can use that elevator pitch and have used it since then as well. So where does this fit? Well, obviously we offer here at Ferris a professional sales program, and we talk quite a bit about the idea that we can sell, obviously products, services, and so forth, but there's a lot more that goes into it. And so we focus on the interpersonal communication nature of what's going on. And that's where this elevator pitch really falls into play. I mentioned earlier that it's really useful in terms of an interview situation, but it also helps the students to really build confidence in being able to promote themselves, promote their own ideas, because an elevator pitch can be used to talk about me. It can be used to talk about a product. It can be used to talk about an idea I have. In essence, it's just a small, kind of more encapsulated version of the larger scope of any project. And so we teach the students how they can go about that and how they can limit it down to these small 60 seconds, 90 seconds, depending on the amount of time that they have. And we teach them active listening so that they're paying attention to what's going to be important to the other person who's listening and who's going to basically assess whether or not they want to move forward in any relationship that they have with these students. We also have recognized that this particular skill is something that everyone can benefit from. It's not limited to sales, even though this is, where we're coming from. It's open to everyone. And the way I describe it to my classes is to talk about the fact that you're all going to use this, right? You're all going to look for a job, right? And have to answer that interview question. You're all going to potentially ask for a promotion or some sort of a raise or something like that. And you're going to have to be able to communicate your value in a short bit. You are all going to potentially meet people and network at events and have to have that, kind of, I tell them they have in their back pocket, right? Be able to pull it out at any given point so that they can introduce themselves and they can share what makes them special, what sets them apart, and why, again, that person would want to communicate continue that relationship going forward. And we mentioned all the parts and pieces, and you notice that both of the students in the example videos didn't leave it there, because you never leave an elevator pitch when it's done, right? Because you want the relationship to continue. So there's got to be more that comes afterward. How do I continue talking to this person beyond just those first couple of minutes? So where we want to go from here, or how we're using this information, is first off, we already attend national competitions, and many of the competitions actually include an elevator pitch or a speed sell competition. Speed sell, the only difference is they're usually doing their elevator pitch multiple times. And so we're already incorporating it there. We also have hosted, much like this perfect pitch competition, we've hosted other internal competitions where students are able to use these skills as well. where we'd like to go with it is to open up these workshops that Jina mentioned earlier so that they're open to all Ferris students. So again, all students can benefit from having that elevator pitch and being prepared to kind of move out into their careers, whether it's to get an internship or their future job. And we're also open to looking at structuring competitions within other departments. We recognize that some other departments may have need for that based on what they're doing, and that they may want to be able to, have their students kind of get into a little bit more of a formal atmosphere to practice that elevator pitch. And so we're looking at what we can do across campus so that this one collaboration with athletics, which worked fantastically, we'd like to kind of broaden that out and have collaborations across different areas of campus as well. So, although a little longer than 60 seconds, what we've told you today is, we've introduced you to this competition, gave you our backgrounds, which lended some credibility. So that was our intro. The elevator pitch is beneficial for everyone, right? Students and faculty both benefit from the process, regardless of the discipline, regardless of the major. And we kind of showed that putting it together with athletics, but it works everywhere as well. We told you about our competition, how it started, and the operational components of the actual event. We linked it together with the athletics and showed how it links across the rest of campus as well. And I will tell you, if you can't already tell, that Jina and I are very passionate about helping students start their careers. We really want to help give them that platform to step off of and move into the direction that they're interested in going. And an elevator pitch helps with that. So all that's left for us is our call to action. And I just want to throw out that we would love to connect with any of you on LinkedIn. You are welcome to just turn on your cameras and take a quick shot of the QR codes there. And also the links. Oops, I don't know if I got both links, but they're in the chat as well. And so we would love to connect with you. In here, if anyone has any questions, we would be happy to take a look at them or see what we can do to answer them.
It's Tower here.
Sense.
There is the big interview technology software that the Career Center uses, and I'm not that familiar with it, but it sounds like it asks questions and then the students can videotape themselves and keep practicing and practicing on that. My guess is that you can change up the question so it could be entirely focused on, here's your elevator pitch, go. So they can videotape it and redo that and send it off for feedback. So maybe you're already using that type of technology, but it seems like that might be able to be adjusted specifically for this use.
Definitely. And I should have mentioned, we actually do a lot of recordings, obviously the couple of recordings that we showed you today, but we do try to do that so students can get the feedback. But that sounds like it would be a lot of fun too, to incorporate that interviewing technology.
Well, and one of the biggest things is to teach the students to actually look at the camera as if the person is right in front of them, and really to look and gain that comfortable feeling, because we don't know how long we're going to have to operate in this type of environment. And they're going to have to interview this way. And so they have to come across as naturally as possible.
Yeah, that's been fun. We have talked.
I was noticing when both of you were talking that you did a nice job of looking at the camera, and I know that as I've done many Zooms that I'm always looking right down here and not up there. So it's great that you point that out. Another thing I just recalled about Big Interview is I think it has the artificial intelligence associated with it. So it counts the number of ums and your eyes looking away. So that can be also helpful feedback with that particular software.
Absolutely. Sometimes I will actually have the students go through and count them themselves so that they can see. And that usually takes care of it pretty fast.
Brutal.
But yeah. Yeah, and there are some other technologies. There's a program called Chorus out there that will do some of that as well. And we've looked at how we can incorporate that because, you know, it's available. We want to use it.
Are there additional?
Hi, Barb. This is Clay.
Hi, Clay.
Yeah, hey. I was just going to ask: do the athletes especially enjoy do they especially enjoy the competition? You know, being athletes and on the field, do they respond any differently than non-athletes in your class?
There's definitely less fear, less anxiety. You know, when it comes to talking about their accomplishments and really having to think through what they want to present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree. And I think that I can't say that they're more competitive because there's a lot of competition that can take place in our classes. But I agree with Jina. They might be a little bit more of a risk taker, you know, willing to just get up there and do it, you know, without that fear.
Do any of the athletes, do they ever think about having careers in front of the camera down the road, like imagine themselves as sports newscasters? I don't know if that would come up in your class or not, but this would be good practice, huh?
It would be. It definitely would be. We see a lot of companies that will hire the athletes for those exact reasons I mentioned earlier, that you know, that risk taking and that you know, that inner drive, that willing to overcome adversity. All of that is so huge in sports, and that's what they're looking for often in their salespeople when they're hiring.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? And it can expand beyond this. If you've got something that you're looking at and you'd like us to come in and talk, we'll do that too.
Well, I think there's a question related to at the AMA. Isn't there a perfect pitch competition in New Orleans that the two of you work on? And this is, can you speak to that experience? It sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, much like some of the other national competitions, there are, again, either perfect pitch or speed selling. In fact, New Orleans is, or any of the AMA competitions are usually a one-time. They get to come in, they say their pitch once. It's a one-shot deal. Other competitions, they use something called speed selling. It's kind of like speed dating, right? You go from representative to representative to representative, and you tweak your pitch in between. So if I'm talking to one company, I'll use one pitch. The bones are usually the same, but I might tweak it just a little bit to whatever the company mission is. We actually had a student last year who went to a competition, did her elevator pitch. She had two versions of it based on the companies that she was going toward. And she got a job. She was interviewing with, we'll just say company A and company B. She got a job with company A. She's been in the job for, it's probably been about a year since she talked to the other company. And one of the reps just called her back over the holidays and said, I keep remembering, and it was her boat story from her elevator pitch. And he tried to steal her away from company A so that she would come work with him. So it does work. It does actually work.
I know we are just about at time. Actually, we're a little bit over. And we do want to give individuals some opportunity to go between sessions and take care of anything else that needs to be taken care of. So if there's no other questions, I would just simply say thank you. Wonderful session. And I didn't want to dominate time and conversation, but I can definitely see a lot of offline and side conversations coming from this.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you all very much.
Thanks so much.